So we have pose. We have 5 keyframes, and we have the timing right. If you look at it, the timing appears to be right. If it isn't, we can tweak it. But we know that we have 5 keyframes. So I'm going to save this. Keys, 5 keys. Again, because I don't want to screw it up 7 keys and then have to throw all my animation away. And trust me when I say that Max is pretty unreliable and can crash at any moment. Right, okay, so we've animated the pelvis, the right foot controller, the left foot controller, and basically right arm and left arm. And I've only animated one object in the right arm and the left arm. Now we need to understand the nuance of human locomotion. What makes us different from robots and chimpanzees? And what makes us different is load bearing. If we go around to the front of this character and we look at it from the front, when we have double contact, the pelvis is horizontal. So, and again, you can observe this if you watch people walking, especially if they've got a belt and you can clearly see their hips. You can see that when they have double contact on the ground, their pelvis is horizontal. The key thing is that when they are walking and they have single foot contact, in other words, on the passing frame, something very interesting happens to the human pelvis, and it is counterintuitive. And what happens is the pelvis drops on the load bearing. Make sure you don't have angle snap on because it will look really unnatural. But this is what happens. Make sure you understand this, because I bet 3 times today I'm going to have to go around and correct people. The load-bearing leg lifts the pelvis on that side, and the non-load-bearing leg drops the pelvis. This is exactly opposite of what happens in chimps and primates and people with hip problems and people who have, well, other forms of back problems. The natural locomotion for the hip is that it drops on the leg that is not load-bearing, and it raises on the leg that is load-bearing. So I hope you can see this is what you should be doing. And what it should be doing, it should be pulling the load-bearing leg straight. Okay, so we don't need to exaggerate it, but I'm going to leave it a little bit exaggerated to begin with. Similarly, when we get round to frame 24, it should be the other way around. Then we can go back and we can look at what happens at the double contact. And what happens at the double contact is on the load bearing, we've been animating on the y-axis. On the double contact, we animate on the x-axis. In other words, what hips swing forwards. And on frame 16, they swing backwards. And then on frame 32, I'm going to steal the rotation from frame 0 so that I get it right. Your character will look absolutely drunk at this point. But let me show you something. If you remove the upper body, I've just hidden it away, and you just focus on the legs, suddenly the legs don't look robotic anymore. Suddenly they look quite natural. the next thing is that we can go in and now we can look at this passing frame again. And what I'm going to do now that I've rotated the hips, I'm going to move these up until I get not a snapping of that blue knee. So in other words, if it's snapped, it's too far. I'm just going to drop the pelvis a little bit. Going to go back to frame 24. I'm going to raise the pelvis again, and again I'm going to check for snapping, and then I'm going to bring it back down a bit. So in other words, what happens is your pelvis goes up and down as you walk. So what we should be seeing is this. Okay, still looks very swanky, doesn't look very good. Looks okay from the side. Doesn't look very good from the front. So again, what I'm going to do is I'm going to go in, and in this case, what the problem is my character is walking with his feet apart, and so he's walking like this. And that's not very natural. What happens is you tend to walk with your feet one in front of the other, and depending on how feminine your hips are and how exaggerated, because if you go and look at catwalk models, if you're trying to exaggerate the femininity, that's even a word, of your character, you will bring your feet further and further in. If you look at catwalk models, they do it, they literally cross over as they walk. Because it's sexy. So, but masculine, shall we say, is some fairly narrow, but not too crossed over. If you spread the feet are too far apart, if they're too far spread, that's like a guy just getting off a horse who's probably pooed his pants or something. It's not very nice. So what I need to do is I need to go in and I need to tweak this. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go in and I'm going to move this over. And I'm going to go in and move this one over. And then the passing frame, I've already keyed, but I'm going to check to make sure it clears. Then on this contact frame, I'm going to move it over. Then I'm going to go and look at my frame 24. I'm going to make sure that I've got the right object selected. And then on that contact, I'm going to move it over as well. So I need to check for foot slides. And again, what I've done, I've got my upper body hidden because I find it very, very distracting because I haven't fixed it. So what I have now is a much more natural walk, both from the side and from the front. And I can tweak that a little bit more. That blue foot still can come in a little bit, I think. No, blue foot, blue foot, blue foot.